All right, everyone. Welcome back to Archeage 101. This is Jalan, and today's episode is going to be on all the different types of vehicles inside of Archeage. And I do apologize for being one day late on my normal publication schedule, but this was just a daunting task, and I had to A, get it right for you, and B, I had to decide how to best present this. So today's video is going to be a very broad overview of different vehicles. And then subsequent videos in the series are going to get down into some more of the details. As always, if you need to contact us, here is my webpage and my email. And more people are starting to reach out to me on Discord, which is absolutely fine. I am Jalan, hashtag 8446. So today what we want to cover is I want to give you that overview on vehicles, specifically breaking them into two parts. Land vehicles and sea ships. I'm going to talk about cars, transports, and tanks. And then for ships, I'm going to talk about the clipper, the speedboat, fishing boats, merchant, and galleons. So to jump in right away, you'll notice that under cars, I've only listed two. I've only listed the Redwood Roadster or the Rampage. Now I know that there are two other car models out there, and I'm going to show you those in just a second, but those have pretty much fallen out of use. People prefer either the Timber Coupe, which upgrades to the Redwood, or they prefer the new car, the Rampage. Then we're going to get into the pack transports, and finally we're going to talk about tanks. So to talk about cars, and as you can see in the picture, you've really got two model types. You've got the luxury vehicle model on the left, that's the Rampage, and mine is in black. I got mine from Tryon for these Archeage 101 videos in one of their contests. Or you can build it in game, and it comes in white, and I'll show you those models in just a second. It's a luxury vehicle. It has 4 passengers and 3 packs in the trunk. It is the slower of the two. Its average traveling speed is about 15. I've gotten it up as high as 25 boosted going downhill. The big advantage of it, other than the fact that it hauls a little bit more cargo, is that it has some better handling, and it's got an auto rate feature. So if you do find yourself upside down, the auto rate feature always works. Now, it may take 20 attempts to get righted, but it will eventually get you back on your tires. The cons to the Rampage is that it can't climb everything. If you've ever seen the videos of people using the Redwood to climb a mountain to run packs, the Rampage can't do all the same paths. It can do different paths, but the front tires of the Rampage will come off the wall. And then the wider body will oftentimes get stuck. Most notably in Rookborn, the wider body gets stuck on the bridges. So you have to get lined up perfectly, and you have to go across absolutely perfectly. Now on the Redwood Roadster, it is the Formula One race car style. 2 passengers with 2 cargo in the back. Its speed is normally about 18 up to 30 boosted, and it can climb pretty much every incline. The cons to it are it is very easy to wipe out in the Roadster, and it's very hard to get back up on its tires. If you wipe out without having a second person with you, it's very difficult to right it. Now, just like in real life, if you're going to buy a car, you're going to go down to the dealership and take a test drive. You actually can do this in game. If you come into Mirage Island and you come right here to the test drive area, you will find the old vehicles, the Apex Squall, the Comet Speedster, and the Timber Coupe. Now remember, these are the non-upgraded versions. And then behind me, they've added the Rampage and the White Rampage. This is the style of the one you can make in-game, and this is the style of the one that comes in the pack. So if you wanted to take it for a test drive, you could summon it, and then right here, right behind these other vehicles, there is a track you can go on, and I'm going to pull up the speed. If you just follow there on the side, you'll see that standard cruising, about 15 even uphill. There's a little piece here in a second that I'm going to have a chance to boost on. As you can see, the handling is a little bit cleaner. Um, I'm going to race the other one in just a second, but I'm slowly, in a couple of parts there you saw the speed get up, but for the most part I'm going to hang out right around 15, 16, going downhill a little bit. If I give myself a little boost, even boosting, about 23, so it's not bad. So I'm going to turn around here, and I'm going to go up to this hill so I can show you the self-righting feature. Sometimes I can make this flip over and sometimes I can't. The wider base oftentimes will help you out. So there we go. I've managed to get myself upside down. And when the vehicle finally agrees with me, of course, now that I'm recording the video, it's not going to self-right easily, right? There we go. There we go. There, almost. As you can see, it's a process. Of course, now I'm serious, like getting upset because I'm cutting video footage. There we go. Look at that. As I told you, it eventually will always get you up. A little bit of forward or backwards is what you need. So thank you for your patience. So I'm just going to let you see the speeds as you come around. And like I said, wider body vehicle, a little bit better handling. Pop the trunk for you real quick. So you got the trade packs there. Works really well in tandem with a speedboat, which we'll talk about later, but since it's 4 and 3, you can basically take a car full to a speedboat, transfer the packs, and go. So I'm going to jump out, and I'm going to leave this right here, and then I'm going to jump into the timber coop. And again, Formula One race style, I'm going to bring up the panel. And I've never been a fan of these. I actually do not own a timber coop. I didn't like the way it handled. So again, a little slower on the uphill, but its advantage will come when it's on the downhill sides. So here we go. Now, the same places, I'm driving a little bit more conservatively. I can't show you the fuel on this during a test drive, but it's when you're using the fuel with the timber coop, the Roadster, when you start to see its advantage. And there you go, the speed's starting to pick up a little bit, but remember this is the unupgraded version. So give me 1 second. Alright, I really didn't like the fact that you were trying to compare apples to oranges, so my lovely wife has jumped in and summoned her Roadster so that we can compare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same route, and as you can see already, the acceleration is much faster. I'm hitting chickens. Once I get past this little uphill part, things will pick up as far as speed, but you got to be careful when you apply that speed. You're going to start to get loose. So here we go. So we're already surpassed. We're at 17, and we're going to come around to this part of the track. As you can see, we're picking up a little bit of downward speed. There's your 29, 28. So that was just a single boost on a single part of the straightaway. It shot us all the way up to 29. So yeah, the advantage of the ability to climb and the faster speed on the flyaways is just something you're going to have to decide for yourself. And wow, one more thing of note before I put the shiny toys away. You'll notice that the personal Roadster has this skin on it with the Paradox logo and the flames on the sides. This is actually a crest stamp. You make it, but you make it on a specific template. You can Google the template, or if you have a hard time finding it, just feel free to leave a comment on the video, and then I will dig up the template for you. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the pack transports, and you'll usually hear these all referred to as haulers, even though hauler is a specific step in the process. So as you start your pack transport process, you'll start with a farm cart, which is a 2-slotter and 1 on your back, and then you'll upgrade to a farm wagon, which holds 4 packs and 1 on your back. And then you will upgrade to the farm hauler, which is 6 packs and 1 on your back. And at this point, you need to make a decision. You can choose to do an additional upgrade to your hauler, which will make it a red farm hauler, which allows you to have 6 packs, 1 on your back, and a bench for a passenger. And this is the only time you can make that decision. If you choose to upgrade to a farm freighter, that's it. There is no option to take a farm freighter into a red farm freighter. And as you do move into freighters, you have 8 packs, 1 on your back, and if you have a red farm freighter, you can have a passenger on that bench. Now, that leaves you with a big question, to red or not to red, and there's that little bench I was talking about. In order to turn a hauler into a red hauler, it takes 5 multi-wagon upgrade tickets, and as I was doing this video, you will have an 11% increase in hauling capability if you have an alt that every time you do a pack run can be on that bench. But it takes 2,500 credits to buy that many tickets. So to buy 2 Apex on the day I'm cutting this video would cost you about 1,660 gold. If you did it with buying the tickets off the auction house, it'd be about 1,400 gold. And I'm going to say if a pack is netting you 15 gold after expenses, that puts you at somewhere between the 94 to 110 runs that you'll need to do. So that's pretty big. That's a pretty time intensive decision. Now, there are people who do 5 or 6 runs a day. So having a alt on the back at 5 runs a day, it means in less than a month you've covered the expense. Again, that's another one of those choices that you're going to have to really think about. Our last land vehicle is the tanks. Now, the 2 that you're going to hear about most often are the wheeled mortar and the ironclad. The wheeled mortar is from Gilda, 300 Gilda. It's the lowest damage of the 3, and it applies a slow on the hit. The ironclad, or the honor tank, as you'll sometimes hear it called, is 30,000 honor, but it's the highest damage per hit of the 3, and it applies a stun on hit. And finally, the fire ironclad, it's either you're going to find the scraps on the auction house, or you're going to farm them yourself, because it's a rare drop. It's the fastest rate of fire. Its rate of fire is 6 seconds versus 7. And it applies a burn on hit. There are a lot of people I know with the fire ironclad that say they wish they had never built it. There are other people I know that are still trying to get the scraps for it. So this is another one of those decisions. I will tell you right now, you do not want the wheeled mortar. Yes, it's more affordable at 300 Gilda versus 30,000 honor, but the damage is noticeably significant. If you can't farm up the 30,000 honor on your own, try to make a deal with somebody to buy the design from them. And as we move into 4.0, honor is going to get a lot easier to get. So about the end of the year, we're going to be seeing that expansion. So If you can't get the ironclad, then you're going to want to wait, in my opinion. Now, if you want to get the wheeled mortar, totally up to you. So with land vehicles done, we're going to talk about ships. And ships are going to be a little bit more complicated. I've really given you the overview of land vehicles, but there's not a lot to them. Ships, there is a ton to. So just today, we're going to talk about the different ships and what regradable components means. And then next week, I'm going to talk about ships more specifically and some tips on how you want to make progress. So in the game, we have two types of clippers, and they each have regradable components. We've got a speedboat, which is how you get it is how you get it. Once it's the upgraded version, there's no changes you can make to it. The game has 3 different fishing boats, which some people don't know, and every ship from this point on has regradable components. The merchant ship, the small warships, aka the galleons. There's actually 3 types. Most players don't know that there's a 3rd type. And then medium warships, the Anoans. And as you can see in red, I have indicated in big red letters that the Anoan is not a starter ship. If you're still watching Archeage 101 videos to figure out what you're doing, just get the thought of an Anoan out of your head. The day I cut this video footage, it would be 90,000 gold to put a Anoan together, and that's before the cost of any cannons, sails, any of the armament. So to start, there's 2 types of clippers, and you have the Adventurer's Clipper, and right here on the side, behind my friend Wolfie, there is the cannon, or you have the Harpoon Clipper, which at the front you can choose to have a cannon or a harpoon. Each has their own merits. If you have the cannon on the side, you have more options than just a captain's cannon. You could put any type of cannon on it. The aim is also a little bit better on the side of the ship versus the front. The clippers tend to drift a lot, so it's pretty hard to be accurate with the cannon. This is the menu when you jump on the clipper and you bring up the customize window. As you can see on that Adventurer's Clipper, there's no box in the front because the option is here on the side. On my Harpoon Clipper, the cannon is in front, but as I said, I could put a harpoon there. Now you'll notice that we both have stripped all of these items off of our clippers. These items are just dead weight. You'll notice that Wolfie's clipper weighs 23,000 kilograms and mine weighs 21,700. Weight does affect the ship, its speed, its turning. So as you can see, these customizable parts, the Sea Serpent propellant, the sail, and the rudders. My boat is a little bit ahead of his, but that's because I've been around longer. Each one of these things will cost you gold, and that's the only time I'm going to say this for ships. To regrade every component is a big gold sink, and then next week's video I'm gonna walk you through ship regrading. So the next ship is the Seaskimmer Speedboat. And as you can see, no upgradable components, but it does have slots for 4 packs and seats for 3 passengers and the driver. And again, like the race car, you can put a custom stamp on it. Takes a little bit of figuring out, but you can get it done. Again, if you can't find it on Google, make a comment and I'll pull it up for you. The fishing boats. There are 3 ways to get a fishing boat. Again, you can spend 300 gilda, and you have to build it. And the materials can be pricey. It can put you back about 1,200, 1,500 gold to build a regular fishing boat. The next option is to accumulate 700 merit badges. The benefit is it's already built, and it is identical to the regular one. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to try to accumulate 700 merit badges, you need to have that done before the 4.0 expansion, because in 4.0 merit badges change, and we don't know what's going to be in the stores, because even if it's available in Korea, Tryon has the liberty to change up what's in each store. And then there is the Moby Drake. It's going to be the auction house value because you can get them with the golden tickets, or it's going to be the cash shop. The benefit is it's already built and it has a different layout. One part of the layout is a benefit, and one part of the layout is a little bit of a distraction. So as I bring them up, here are the three boats. And just like I said, these two boats are identical. You can see that on my boat, I have put the Paradox crest. You can put any crest you want there. But I want you to notice the difference in layouts. On the Moby Drake, as soon as you're on the main deck, you have access to your captain's wheel, your navigation, all in the same tier. On the Merit and the Regulars, you have to climb a ladder to get there. And in a PvP situation, this can become complicated. The customization is all the same. There's a lot of customizable components. Unique on the fishing boat is it can equip the monster finder, the fish finder, or a regular ship radar. So remember that if you are out and about and you see a fishing boat on your radar, it might be able to see you. On the front, you can have a cannon or a harpoon, and fishing boats can be set up to carry 3 packs. They also carry 5 fish in the tank and 2 gargantuans on the back. Now, when I said that there's a disadvantage of the Moby Drake, right here where I'm cursoring versus right here on the Merit, and it'd be the same on the regular, it can sometimes get difficult to put the fish in the hold. So just be aware of that. If you do end up with the Moby Drake, I have always found it easier to get the fish in and out of the regular fishing boats. Next up is the merchant ship. These have really fallen out of use lately since 3.5. You used to catch these all the time on the open seas, and now that cross seas trade packs aren't possible, you don't really find a lot of merchant ships. With the merchant ship, though, again, upgradable components. These 2 spaces on my merchant ship are empty, but these are the unique shroud lights, and I'm going to talk about those next week. The merchant ship is unique in that it can be configured for 20 packs and 2 weapons on the sides, or these 2 spots can be replaced with crest cubes and you can haul 22 packs. Or if you're hauling less packs, you can go to an Ezzy's Light and you can dump these extra packs off, and as you drop your weight down, your ship will of course get faster. Next up is small warships. These usually get called galleons. There's actually 3 types. You've got the Esnen cutter, you've got the Ludsong junk, and then you have the growling yawl, known as the Black Pearl. They're all identical in layout. So the combat ships, they have spaces for sails, figureheads, armaments, a lot of different options. I elect to go shields down one side, cannons down the other. Most people run cannons down both sides. If you had 8 crest cube packs, you could put those in the armament sections, and you can make a pack galleon that can hold 12 cargo. So there are a lot of different options. And again, I've stripped off all the surplus weight so that I can have just a little bit more speed and more maneuverability. I am going to say this. I find the Esnen cutter to have a couple of very specific flaws. The first is, if you notice where I've highlighted, the radar on the Esnen cutter is in a crow's nest. That effectively takes one person out of the fight if your ship gets boarded. On the Lutsong junk, the radar is on the main deck, so who's ever on radar can quickly jump off. Another flaw I find is that, if you notice here where I'm indicating, the access ramp is bigger and the rudder doesn't block access. In the on the Lutsong junk, if you are turning and they're trying to board one side of your ramp, the rudder will actually cut them off. Before I move on with that, come 4.0, there's going to be a change, and I'm going to come back to this slide. The Esnen cutter is going to get a lot better at turning. The Lutzong junk is going to get a lot better at decelerating, and the Growling Yawl is going to get better at both turning and decelerating. I mentioned earlier the Anoan Galleon, that is the medium warship. That's not a new player-friendly ship. In 4.0, there is another new ship coming called the Turtle Ship, and it's going to change naval combat completely. Because right now, the way sea battles are fought is they're not fought ship to ship. They're about, can I board your ship and kill your crew? Well, the Turtle Ship can't be boarded like that. From the early reports we're getting, the crew is safe, so you really have to learn naval combat. So as I come down, I know there's a couple of people out there that would say something to me if I didn't talk about the surprise vehicles. The first is the Cogwheel Longboard, and the other is the Winged Love Paddleboat. Now, I will say that this was a Christmas present a few years ago from a good friend of mine, and it works really nicely for hauling a single pack. It's also just, amusing because it's a skateboard, and who doesn't love a skateboard? You'll also notice that it can get itself going pretty quickly as a mode of transportation. It's a little bit faster than a traditional donkey if you're moving just one pack, but it's also just, like I said, when you've been doing Archeage raids nonstop for hours, I mean, it just becomes silly. It's just a silly toy. It's actually in the toys category on the auction house if they are listed. So I wanted to make sure that since one was given to me as a gift, I talked about it. As far as the paddle boat, those have fallen out of common use lately, but you used to see people using them quite a bit just to be like trolly with them. But they were fun as well, and they deserved recognition. A couple of more things before I finish up today. The first is there's a little bit of a change in the evolution news that I gave last week. And I'm going to knock Tryon a little bit for this, and that is you never should release a press release and then have to go back and say, oops, that's not what we meant. This is pretty typical of Tryon and how they do business. So I want to make sure that I tell you direct, my viewers, my audience, I want to tell you direct that there is going to be a 24-hour lockout on placing land. Now, I have been fighting the good fight on the forums, and so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drag my browser over, and as you can see, Celestrata basically says that I've been the one who's been talking about the problems. This is on the official forums. It's the 24-hour land block is unacceptable. Now, I have put the points out there as clear as I can to Tryon. I personally think they're making a mistake. I think bringing up the server on a Saturday and then waiting until Sunday to allow people to place land is a huge mistake, and it's a slap in the face to the Oceanic players because that's their Monday morning. It's also problematic in my view because if there's anything that goes wrong, all your Oceanic people aren't going to be able to do their land grabs, and all your European people who have to go to bed to work, they're not going to be able to do theirs either. I think that as gamers, we're grown up enough to understand that yes, people are going to get screwed. That's the nature of a merge. I think there has to be some ownership on the players that they didn't keep their server healthy and non-toxic. So Oyo, Selfira, and Taiyang, I've been saying it on Selfira for 3 years now. If you don't take care of your server, you will get merged. And Selfira has been the free farm server. So rest assured, I'm going to continue voicing my opinion in that thread because I think that some of their rationale is solid, but I think some of their rationale is poor. I'd invite you to go over to that thread and read it and make some comments, because I have almost 400 subscribers on this YouTube, and if everybody started going back to the forums and just putting their voices out there, that's how you make change. I'm also going to tell you that I have 9 squirrels to give away. And then I have just recently gotten another email that gave me 15 more squirrels to give away. But I want you to do me a favor, and you got to pay attention here. I want you to go make a post, make a comment, but I need you to do it on the Evolutions 2 video. I don't want to have the comment split across 2 videos. So please go back to the Evolutions 2 video that I did last week. Put your comment there. Just ask for a squirrel. I'm going to give 9 away. That'll clear out my backlog of codes. And then I'm going to give away 15 more in the coming month. Also, I'm not putting it on the screen, but if you're listening, I have 5 codes for Trove. If you play Trove, make a comment on this video, but please make the comment that says Trove giveaway. That way I know you're looking for something for Trove. I know it's a little bit confusing, but I didn't know I was going to be getting 15 more squirrels today. And before I sign this video off, I want to say a big thanks to a couple of my guildmates, Wolfer Ray and Jodenko. I don't own every vehicle in Archeage, and so they got up and they were helping me get some stuff set up. So big thanks to you guys. Hey, you. Yes, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Hit that subscribe button. Watch a couple of more videos. Go check out our website.